Switzerland is synonymous with quality, with high standards. It's all wrapped in a picture postcard setting. The country is one of the highest investors in education and research. It has one of the highest percentage of international students. It's home to Fortune 500 multinationals, international finance hub. It's a great location for discovering the rest of Europe. And it could be an ideal setting for your own MBA plans. So, to find out more about studying an MBA in Switzerland, it's my pleasure to welcome Milind Sheth. Milind is at St Gallen, currently studying. He studied chemical engineering at NIT Warangал and then was a tech consultant for HSBC in London before working on cloud tech in Houston, Texas, and then consulting in Dubai, a truly global citizen. And equally for Janet Un, who is studying at EHL Business School in Lausanne. She has a decade of experience in the hospitality industry, completed her BBA at Les Roches, and then growing levels of leadership responsibilities that have taken her from Egypt and Chengdu to Hanoi and currently Kuala Lumpur. So both of you, welcome to the Centre Court event. It's lovely to have you with us. I just gave a brief background, but Milind, perhaps you can share a little bit more about this journey that has now brought you to studying your MBA at St. Gallen in Switzerland.
First of all, thanks, Matt, for that quick intro. You really described it pretty well, considering a global citizen. So, like just on a lighthearted note, I like to call myself like an international kid who's born in India, but basically settled in the Middle East, and then work took me places where I didn't know I would go to. So in terms of professional experience, you summarized this pretty well. I was in the London with the HSBC Bank, and then went to the States in cloud consulting in Houston, and then I was back in Dubai as the global head of consulting. And now I'm back to St. Gallen, University of St. Gallen for my MBA. So uh, in terms of why I chose the location and why the university and what motivates me to do my MBA, I think while I was in that career phase, post 7 years of work experience, I realized that it's the right time for me to upskill and upscale, fill in the gaps that I see within myself in order to, kickstart my or spearhead my vision of taking over bigger leadership roles in the future. And I think MBA is one sort of a course that prepares your perspectives, gives you a holistic leadership angle as well. At the same time, tightens the screws around your core modules like people, strategy, finance, supply chain, etc. So I felt it had all the elements that I really needed to shape my career and my future growth, and that brings me to basically pursuing an MBA.
Well, we'll be talking later about learning experience, the
Yeah,
holistic approach, combining the
yeah.
technical skills that you had now with broader business skills. I guess, Janet, in your case, you already had a lot of experience in the hospitality industry. Of course, EHL is a shining star when it comes to hospitality. I think it's the only school that has a Michelin-starred restaurant. How cool is that? But you were enjoying a successful international career. What then encouraged you to come back to business school to get your MBA?
So basically, after working for 10 years, I was on a very clear and focused path, but I think it's a personality thing that I would see myself where's next and what's next, basically. And with that in mind, I feel like I do need something to kind of hone in my skills or more professional knowledge that can help me get into any opportunities possible, maybe even away from hospitality or anything that can just give me more opportunities. So, yeah, in my case, being in La Roche before, I do know that in Switzerland, these schools do have really strong curriculars and they have really strong faculty as well. So that's why I decided to narrow it down to Switzerland. And in terms of school, La Roche was it's always amongst the top three. And I decided to go beyond that and went for the top one. So that's where EHL came along. So yeah, that's pretty much.
And perhaps just renowned for hospitality, but this idea that students, graduates are then exploring both opportunities in that industry, but it could equally be real estate, finance. I mean, it really does open up other career paths and opportunities.
Yes, I did my research not only about the school, but also the research about the alumni and just seeing um, with a lot of diverse opportunities and even the different areas that they gone to. So like he said, they not only stayed in hospitality, some went on real estate, some went into consulting and a lot more. So that kind of got me excited in terms of other possibilities there, the areas that you can actually go into with an MBA.
The international kid in you, Milind, you're comfortable in continents around the world. Janet had spoken about the academic rigor in Switzerland. What was it about perhaps the country, the setting, and things that you saw at St Gallen that really appealed to you?
Yeah, I think that's very aptly put, right? In terms of education standards as well, I think Switzerland is right there in the top three or top four. We know we have ET at Zurich, which is like 1 hour away from the University of St Gallen, which is almost ranked number one across the globe in terms of research and technical institutes. So you always have that talent that flourishes or is more forward looking in Switzerland. Not just that, but with University of St. Gallen, I think it has consistently been one of the top 7 or 8 programs when it comes to full-time MBA in the European Union. And across the board, I think University of St. Gallen is so strategically located because it is very much connected to Liechtenstein, Austria, Germany, France, and this is also the region where you have multiple linguistic abilities, right? So you have the French-speaking part of Switzerland, then you have the German, you have the Italian. So while we talk about Switzerland being a close-knit community, it is also something that's really open and diverse in terms of cultures. So I think for me, the University of St. Gallen, looking at the strategic notion, and while I was speaking with the alumni and talent team, I got this perspective of how they're trying to build a community rather than just having a class of people, and that's really inspiring. So that was one of the motivators and get goers for me.
Being so open to the world, Milan, is that something when you first met your MBA classmates, was that obvious that there was that international thread that was common to everybody among you?
Yes, in fact, we have 19 diverse nationalities in a class of 45. So, usually the MBA students or the MBA classes are known for having a number somewhere greater than 100. But that's one of the beauties over here, that you have a class of 45. So it's more like a community-driven culture. It is more focused. Everyone knows each other in and out. You get to have that liability with your professors, with your friends, with your classmates, and they're really really diverse, not just in terms of where they come from, but also in terms of their professional work experiences. So we have people from engineering background, we have people from academic background, we have some PhD scholars in biology, we have some doctors over here, we have economics heads, we have some of the people who have worked between Switzerland and Singapore in the economic affairs. So, like really diverse. And I think that reflects also in terms of the cultural progress that Switzerland is making.
Your own career, Janet, I mentioned North Africa, Southeast Asia, China. Similarly, when you came to EHL and met your MBA classmates, again, great international diversity and a lot of different industry experience as well.
Yep. So I recently had an interview with the school as well, and they asked me what's my favorite part of MBA. I told them it's my classmates, my cohorts, basically. They're incredible. They're not only that they're diverse in background, but also nationalities as well. We have a smaller group this year. I only have 16 in my class. So we're pretty much tight, as tight as you can get. They're very diverse, very driven. That is something that I'm quite lucky. Uh, they're very driven, so we're all aiming at the same goals that we have, and the camaraderie and teamworks are amazing.
You talked about the
Yeah.
high quality of the faculty and of teaching. So to tell us a little bit more about the learning experience, both in terms of, theory in the classroom, but maybe the practical application of that, in industry
Mm.
and in different companies.
So basically, the learning experience is intense, but it's really rewarding. It goes hand in hand, and it's very demanding because each course that we have actually requires different approach and mindsets. After finishing a course, you would think that you kind of get a hang of how things should work, and the next course starts. It's a different thing. It's a different approach that you just have to adapt. And I think that kind of helps and mirror the real world challenges that we see. So the adaptability and quick learning is quite essential in this case. And outside of the classroom, we do have a lot of events as well as some activities that the faculty will prepare for us. For example, some professionals from other backgrounds as well that they would come in, for example, tech backgrounds. We do have people coming in, professionals, and these are people that we don't usually uh, work with a lot or closely. So I think they do provide us different professionals that we can exchange ideas.
That sense of intensity, Milan, top European programs that obviously are typically packing in a lot in a 1 year format compared to programs in Houston and the rest of the US over 2 years. So, is there the ability beyond a curriculum to personalize through electives and then also beyond the classroom, the role that different clubs and activities provide leadership opportunities, but also networking, I'm sure.
Absolutely, and very rightly said. I think one of the motivating factors for the St. Gallen, for joining the St. Gallen MBA is also the fact that the course is spread across a year, but it's divided into two specific traits. So the first track is going to be more around the core modules, which the entire class goes through, right? So it is mandatory and you have to go through it. But the second track is more around the flexibility, your personalization, wherein you could choose your own electives. You could basically pick your own path. You could basically try to do like a corporate project or a business plan or a research thesis, right? So multiple tracks when we talk about the second term, and that's where the personalization angle comes in as well. That also gives you the liberty to little bit explore within yourself. What are your preferences? Also look at the market, look at what you want to do. And I think that's a really good thing, because once you have the core skill set, you can then choose for yourself what you really want to do. And outside the classes, the community is super strong over here because St. Gallen in general is a town comprising of five different universities, which are part of the St. Gallen banner itself. So we have the Bachelor University, we have the Economics University, we have the Innovation University, we have the Business University, and so on and so forth, right? So the student community over here in terms of clubs, I think enormous opportunities. Uh, Something from consulting club to a leadership and like a vocational training club, you literally have all the horizons covered. So, I mean, and in terms of sports facilities as well, the gym campus, the sports tracks, the sports courts, everything is open for all. And you have classes going on every day, like professional coaching classes, which are free for people to enroll in as well. And even within these clubs, you have clubs segregated from demographically, geographically, business industry wise, extracurricular wise. So, the community, they believe in the concept of community building as well.
Right. You probably don't need a club for it, but you're also a business school. We can go skiing on the weekend. You're saying that there's a lot of snow outside right now. I
Yeah.
don't know for Lausanne. We talk about those networks, Janet, and this idea that you'd reached a stage in your career to think, well, opening up new opportunities. What comes next? And the MBA will play a key role. So, how does the program then help and support you to prepare those next stages of your career?
I think the program has been instrumental so far in terms of deepening my understanding of business and the management concept that I have not encountered before in my field or in my industry. So it actually helps with the combination of the application as well as the curriculum. It's building my confidence and also equipping me with the skills needed to, I guess, to tackle whatever that might come.
Hmm.
And it also helps with the leadership part and the global perspective that we have since it's a very international class as well as faculty. So I'm looking forward for more strategic roles in the future.
Right. Perhaps in the application, Janet, you were expected to give
Mhm.
some sense of that career vision, but in reality, is it like, you're here, take this opportunity to explore?
Sorry, I could, can you repeat that?
Between your application, perhaps they asked you to imagine next steps beyond the MBA,
Uh-huh.
what the career would look like. But I'd imagine at the same time, it's a rare opportunity to really explore different opportunities.
Yes. I think in terms of the application part, we do have some interesting projects that we get to work with, and sometimes the team or sometimes the cohort, they do have real life situation that will reflect what we're doing. So sometimes that kind of helps us uh, have another perspective in terms of what this application can do. So that is also something that we're very interesting.
Got it. Milind, you've been involved in cloud consulting, sort of the future of technology. Is AI and thinking about, where the workplace might be moving in the years ahead, is that something that's also built in as the school works with you to prepare the next stages of your career?
Absolutely. In fact, we recently had a session on the ethics in AI and AI corporate governance. So, as and when the technology landscape is evolving, the business school over here in the University of St. Gallen is also keeping up with it. We have a lot more forward looking initiatives when it comes to AI. In fact, we have detailed industry visits, with the institutions out here to also gauge the future of AI and how it can change the landscape. Uh, I'm not sure if people know about this, but OpenAI and Anthropic, both of them have now built their regional headquarters in Zurich. So the ecosystem is vastly growing, developing, and every institution over here, especially the St. Gallen MBA, has tailored their curriculum to also concentrate on the future looking technology aspects.
You might have had a lot of expectations, Milind, of what business school was going to be like. Is there anything that surprised you, or perhaps beyond all of the skills that you're developing, something that you've learned about yourself?
Yeah, I think St. Gallen MBA and Switzerland both have in fact played a very important role in self-reflecting within myself because uh, I think the community over here and the opportunities over here are very much different from something that you find in the western half of the world, right? So here it's more about relationships, trust, communication, being transparent. And I think these are few of the inherent core values that you start reflecting upon once you also go through the MBA journey. And that's something that I'm also taking away with myself, apart from just the MBA expertise, which is how to constantly build and work on your personality and imbibe these values that not just differ from culture to culture, but also adaptation or integrity into the culture, or integrate into the culture. And I think that's really a quality which I'm taking away with myself.
I don't know, Janet, if you've had the chance to enjoy lunch in the Michelin-starred restaurant, or it's more about behind the scenes and operating such something so complex and moving towards perfection. But again, something about the program that you hadn't expected, that there was this a really unexpected surprise. What might that be?
I would think it's still about the cohort. I didn't expect to be to have this camaraderie in MBA. Maybe I was thinking more in terms of, okay, just do your part, go in, do your part, get out, in a sense. But I think what surprised me most is really the camaraderie of the cohort, where we overcome challenges, all the technical hiccups, because in EHL we do have a blended format, which is quite interesting. And so the support that we have from the whole class, that is something that I'm very surprised. Everybody is just as driven and just as supportive. And that really blew me away when you have that group of people doing the MBA with you.
Are set to court viewers that similarly, from all over the world, are perhaps in a position that both of you were in a year, 2 years ago, as you were thinking about, going back to school, the MBA is at the right next step. Um, Janet, what advice would you have for our viewers thinking about getting an MBA, and of course, EHL in particular?
I think my biggest piece of advice, this is built on the surprise that we talked earlier. It's to be clear about the reason that you're pursuing your MBA, because it's a significant commitment, and you owe it to your cohort to be fully invested in this journey. So for those considering my school, I'll emphasize the importance that the program is very diverse and rigorous, and prepare to challenge yourself, lean on your peers, and take full advantage of these opportunities available. Yeah.
Great. Milind, you were enjoying a successful career. Now you're making this very intentional investment in yourself, but it's a big step. So again, with the experience that you're now enjoying in the program, for viewers that are thinking about that next step, words of encouragement or just things that they can think about as they
Yeah.
consider St Gallen and the MBA.
Yeah, that's a tricky one, Matt. But yeah, obviously, my first piece of recommendation to anyone considering an MBA in general would be to really understand why you want to do an MBA, or why you want to pursue an MBA, right? Because unless that is itself very, very clear, I don't think you'll be able to get a lot out of what you are really looking for, right? So that's my first recommendation. I think from a personal experience as well, I can definitely tell you that the University of St. Gallen MBA goes beyond the curriculum itself, right? So the university is also known to have one of the biggest and most reputed alumni networks in Switzerland. But one thing that really surprised me was the fact that we have career advisors over here, and they are not just with you for the time frame of the program. They are with you throughout your life. So
Mm.
let's say like 10 years down the line, you want to reach out to them for personal guidance, they will still be available. And I mean, that is also in line with the values that the school tries to inculcate in you, which is more like help driven, value driven, and like personally driven. So everyone's invested, and I think that is also one of the motivating factors for me to do an MBA, because while it helps you shift your perspectives and challenge your perspectives and ideologies, it also brings new elements into your life that you can always pick up from here. So I think absolutely when it comes to choosing the right MBA for you, uh, be very, very clear in terms of what you want, how you want to develop, whether your skill set, your values are aligning with the schools as well. And I think this can give you a good launchpad for the future.
Right. Well, I've made a note for Centre Court of 2035 to come back 10 years from now and see how that career is developing with the support that both of you have. I'm sure it'll be very exciting. It's wonderful to be able to capture this current experience and the enthusiasm, the people, the place, the program. So, Milind, Janet, thank you very much for joining us for this Centre Court event about the MBA in Switzerland.